Welcome once again, and I'm Charlie Greenberg, your host and moderator for webMethods Wednesdays, Software AG's weekly presentation of cutting-edge use cases and demos supported through webMethods technology, including integration, API management, master data management, BPM or business process management, analytics, decision support, and mobile technology, among other products. And as we've shown in the last several weeks, any of these products can play a symbiotic role in the digital business platform, Software AG's innovative architecture, enabling the rapid development of next-generation digital applications. Today, we're going to look at an additional cloud platform, or PaaS, Platform as a Service, and how private clouds can be deployed using webMethods Command Central. Our two presenters are Sachin Gadre, Senior Director of Product Management, and Angel Kolchev, Senior webMethods Product Manager. As usual, and at the conclusion of today's presentation, we will be conducting a Q&A, so at any point, please use the WebEx Q&A box at the bottom right-hand side of your screen for any questions or comments. And now, to begin today's presentation, it is my pleasure to introduce Sachin Gadre.
Thanks, Charlie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on managing private cloud deployments. So next slide. I want to talk about Platform as a Service and then how Software AG has evolved its products to support emerging use cases when people and when IT gets on to develop PaaS solutions. So before we go there, I want to just highlight a few maybe KPIs around how the PaaS market is growing. The first one is from, we have several analysts that study the market. The first one out here, it says that the PaaS market is projected to grow to $7.5 billion by 2020. And this includes not just public cloud, but also private cloud as well as managed cloud. Platform as a Service is being used by IT to actually better or effectively compete against their competitors who are using software to encroach on their market. So we are seeing that every industry is basically seeing new competitors that are emerging, and they're using digital technologies to gain market share and to effectively disrupt that particular industry. So every company has to become good at doing software, and Platform as a Service is a great way to incorporate some of the capabilities in order to become more agile, in order to deliver software more quickly. I want to also highlight some Gartner PaaS predictions. The first one that is interesting to me is that 70% of the IT organizations are looking to deliver PaaS using a container service. And what this means is that, whereas we know that there have been cloud management frameworks like Cloud Foundry, OpenShift that has been around in the market for at least some years, they are being perceived as being more complex. Although they have a lot more capabilities, they are much more complex to adopt. And therefore, what IT organizations are moving towards is to embrace a technology like Docker, which is lightweight, which is certainly easier to use, and then it can be, you can combine Docker with any of the frameworks to provide a similar level of capability. But you can start small, and you can improve your developer workflow. You can get the required agility to deliver new business capabilities as well as to effectively compete against your competitors. The second thing that is very important is the delivery of both high productivity and high controlled PaaS. And this basically means that within a single platform, you can have not only support IT developers, but you can also support citizen integrators. And this is something that Software AG is striving towards delivering. And in fact, in our October release, we are exactly coming out with a single platform for both high productivity and high control. So, and again, this is something that will be is very interesting to me. Angel, can you go to the next slide? So And as people try to adopt platform as a service, I think some of the benefits that they are expecting it should come as no surprise, but it is more cloud-like characteristics. So being able to dynamically allocate resources to meet demands. So I might have an application that requires or does more processing during certain days or certain times of the week or during certain months, and I want to allocate more resources to that application. And in doing so, I want to do dynamic allocation, so no static allocation, because that will provide for optimized use of not only software, hardware, but also personal resources. And when we talk about IT folks, we don't want to, hire a bunch. I mean, companies don't want to hire a lot of IT folks as their application scale. They want to use techniques like centralized administration and monitoring, self-service, in order to effectively scale their infrastructure without, having a bunch of additional costs. So they do want to control the cost, and that's where PaaS plays a big role. And in doing so, as they try to scale out their infrastructure, they do want to architect it in such a way that you have the fault-tolerant nature. They don't want to increase administrative workload. You want to decrease it, but at the same time support the new business initiatives. So in order to do that, we have distilled the PaaS capabilities into 8 distinct categories. And Angle, if you can go to the next slide, that's where I list all the 8 categories. The first one is centralized administration and monitoring. This is basically self-explanatory. This includes the ability to do centralized configuration, administration, monitoring of a large application landscape involving multiple components. And it also includes things like fixed management. And Angle is going to actually do a nice demo of this. Then, of course, we have template-based provisioning, which is the ability to quickly provision servers. So instead of doing manual provisioning, engage in automatic provisioning of servers, application instances, configuration, as well as deployment of custom code. And I think we also have some demo plan for this. Then comes dynamic scaling. So this is the ability that allows application owners, architects to dynamically scale up their application in response to, let's say they expect a surge in request that might occur in certain scenarios. A great example of that is the Thanksgiving holiday that basically requires retailers to scale up their infrastructure to support the higher requests that are coming from different consumers. So again, having that ability to do dynamic scaling in a quick manner is very important. Self-service, as soon as you have this kind of an environment, you don't want to increase your administrative requirements. You want to engage in self-service, and that also provides for higher productivity. So developers and other users, they don't have to wait on administrators to do some work for them. In fact, you can actually have a portal whereby developers can go request newer environments that get automatically provisioned. They can do administrative changes on their own, and this also feeds into the whole DevOps concept. So again, self-service is very important. Finally, resource reuse is where you're doing all of this dynamic scaling, but then as soon as you don't need that capacity, you need the ability to reclaim hardware and software resources so that you can repurpose them for other initiatives. And again, this is something that has to be provided by the PaaS out of the box. Metering and chargeback, this is used for enabling new business models where you want to distribute costs to different business departments. This is something that I don't see with every customer, but this is, some of the customers are moving in that direction where they are now distributing the cost of this infrastructure, which they previously could not, because previously IT was like a shared resource, but now you can actually you can meter all of the requests and you can charge back and distribute the cost in a much more effective manner. Platform resiliency becomes important in a PaaS because you're doing a lot more changes to your code. You are being agile. Some of the organizations, like for example Amazon, they do a deployment every 11 seconds. And we know that some of our customers are doing multiple deployments in a day. And in order to support that, you need specific features like hot deployment or the ability to take down certain servers, do the deployment, do the patching. So you need platform resiliency built into this architecture. And this is something that webMethods has worked a lot. And finally, continuous integration, again, the practice whereby a developer can check in his changes and automatically they get compiled and they get tested and the changes become available. This is again flows into the whole DevOps concept, and again, it is very important for agility. So I've talked about 8 categories. What we are going to do through the next presentation is to take a few of these and actually show you demos on how Software AG can support these capabilities. Now, just because we are showing a few of these doesn't mean that we don't support the other ones. The focus of this presentation is only on I would say, the top 4. And my colleague, Angle, is going to go through his presentation now, where he will show you all the real-world demos. So, Angle, over to you.
Hi, and welcome. My name is Angel Cholchev, and as Charlie already presented me, I'm a senior manager responsible for Command Central. And Command Central is the tool of choice for Software AG. That's the tool that we've developed to address the things that Sachin already spoke about. So let's continue with Command Central. We had a couple of drivers that made us create the product in the first place. So one of those is the cloud enablement. This is the ability to have scalability, to automate a lot of the administrative work around managing the product, and to be able to expand elastically. And the other is managing large landscapes. So if you're an administrator and you want to support 25 landscapes, then certainly going to every single instance and doing some administrative work is a lot of effort. So if we have a central console which we can use to reduce the effort, this will be a big gain for the administrators. Also, by removing the manual work, by working on so many machines and doing the same work again, we also reduce significantly the risk. Also, by having a central management console, you can also increase the agility a lot. So those here are the roles that we are really interested in. We are aiming with the Command Central to support the infrastructure engineers, the system administrators, the deployment managers, and the developers at the end who can do DevOps now end-to-end with the Command Central tool. Basically, those roles are split into these capabilities that you see here in the cloud. So the administrator can there deploy, configure, and administer and patch and monitor his environment, and the DevOps engineer will be able, for example, to deploy things very rapidly to check if the configuration of the different environments is similar. And this will be done only with a couple of clicks and not by manually checking a couple of environments. So the challenges that we identified for the system administrators is first the scale. If your environment grows a lot, then suddenly you cannot scale anymore because you really have to go on all those remote environments and check different things. This is especially valid for a cloud environment where every single node, the nodes are very dynamic, so you can have in one moment 5 nodes that you have to manage, in the next moment you can have 15 or 25 or even more. So this means that by controlling every single environment from a one central place, allows you to scale a lot better. So your time is not being hidden. The next one is the risk. Again, if you have to perform the same operations over and over again, there is a high risk of error by doing this. So we wanted to reduce it. We wanted to align the environment to help the administrators quickly align the environment. For example, if you have test environment and production environment, by comparing the configurations and the versions, you can very quickly align them and reduce the risk of having discrepancies in production. And the other one is, another challenge is the different product sets. Especially in our company, the digital business platform is not made up of one product. It's made up of dozens of products, and sometimes it's really a struggle to manage all of them. So we wanted to have a homogeneous place where you can take a look at the products as the digital business platform as a whole and be able to configure it, provision it, and manage it. And the last one is the segregation of the responsibilities. Common Central allows you to assign different users to different roles. For example, the DevOps engineer will do different things than the system administrator. So that's again a point that we wanted to address. So our key requirements were to have a centralized system which is unified for all the products in the digital business platform. It had to be scalable, and it had to allow a lot of automation. So our scope is first the monitoring and managing, the landscape management. So we can manage installation, we can start and stop them, we can group many installations into environments. We can access directly remove the log files, which means that now if we see there a problem on one environment, the administrator can access this pretty quickly. He doesn't have to go there, log in, download the files per console, and then read them locally. He can do this all in the central place. So we also covered the product installation. By the complete template that Sachin already spoke about, we can manage direct installations of whole environment. That's one of the use cases that we'll show today. We can bootstrap remote servers. This means that we don't have to even go there previously and install something. We can directly say that we want something on this machine, and Common Central will go there, will install its agents, and will start installing the product itself. Okay, we have the fix management, which is especially helpful if you have a big environment and you want to align it again. The alignment is a big topic in configuration, fixes, and product versions, so that's why I mentioned it again. So if you have to install fixes over 5 components, which are, for example, clustered on 20 machines, which is also one of the references that we'll show, then by doing this manually is a very huge work. Common Central can help you automate all this. The next is the central configuration. And now from Common Central, you have a really central place where you can apply configuration remotely to different nodes. You can compare their configurations, and you can apply the configuration over multiple nodes, which are, for example, in a cluster. So the solution management, the deployment of assets, it's actually something that is in our scope, but it's not yet implemented. So we're planning to get there soon. Here it goes about the assets that are created on top of the digital business platform. And they're always linked to the environments, and we also need to have there some capability to compare the assets on the different environments. That's, again, part of the alignment strategy. And then I mentioned this already in the product installation, but template-based provisioning is something like a new topic there. The idea here is that we can define templates which are declarative, so they're in a human readable file. We define what will be on a target machine or even on a target nodes, a couple of ones. What products do we want, what fixes do we want, what instances of those products do we want, what kind of configurations do we want to apply. Then by executing a single command line, we can practically install the whole environment. Of course, those templates, they support also variable substitution. This means that we can reuse them, and I have a very good example in a while, which is about the migration. Okay, so let's go on. Yeah, first, all of these capabilities, the idea is to have a couple of interfaces to them, and probably the most important interface for the sysadmins, which can code scripts, is the command line interface. So basically everything that you can do in Common Central, you can also script it through the command line. There is also a REST API, which is available from Common Central. So that's how you can integrate Common Central in your monitoring tools or in your orchestrator tools to perform certain actions like provisioning, fixing, applying configurations. And of course, we have also the Web UI, which is a simplistic web UI, but it allows you very quickly to manage the whole landscape that you have and to apply configurations by not going on every single machine and doing this centrally. So how does the architecture of the Command Central look like? The idea is that we can have many installations. We're actually from Command Central, we're always managing installations. And those installations, they have one agent of Command Central, which is called Platform Manager, or Software AG Platform Manager, SPM for short. The idea is that Command Central can connect itself to many SPMs, and those SPMs, they locally have plugins which connect to the different products there. So Runtime A is actually a product for an instance of it, Runtime C, B, those are different products. So Command Central can connect to numerous of those. Currently, I think we have some limitation up to 10,000 SPMs, but I think you'll struggle to get to there. So the idea is that the Command Central server is really a one instance for all your environments. Probably if you want some logical division, you can create a second one. But the Command Central server allows you to walk into the web UI, it allows you to script again, and it also exposes the REST Service API. We also struggle to make the Command Central backward compatible. This means that, for example, the 9.10 version, which came out last week, you can take it and you can install it and start managing Software AG installation version 9.0 with it. The idea is always to install the latest version. You will always get more of it. So the thing is that sometimes there might be limitations because the local agent does not support certain things that the server can. So those are specific cases, but really again the recommendation is always install the new things, then you have more capabilities because, for example, the UI will be better, more modern, more secure, and so on. The thing to mention here is also that you unfortunately cannot update the local SPMs. For example, if you have a 9.0 installation of products from Software AG, you cannot install 9.5. We cannot SPM. We cannot guarantee that it will work. Okay, so let's go over to a couple of important use cases that we're going to demonstrate here of Command Central. So the centralized management and monitoring is for sure something that is very valid, especially in the cloud world. You just add there new nodes, new SPM nodes. You can provision them also, but if you add them, then you can directly manage and monitor them. You can also configure them. The second use case is the scripted maintenance activities. Basically, your sysadmin can write a couple of scripts and then apply them to numerous environments. And this is exactly the right one to reuse many times activity. So he can save a lot of effort and reduce the risk a lot because everything is already scripted. So we have the use case of provisioning new environments. This is exactly the composite template. We'll jump in a while. And then we have the very related environment update and migration. This is a very new feature. This is actually the automatic migration of whole environments. For example, if you want to migrate your whole product suite from 9.8 to 9.10, then you can use Command Central to do it. Okay, then the last one is dynamic scaling. We'll cover this at last. So the first use case is the centralized management and monitoring console. And actually that's the idea. We connect to many SPMs, which are from then on connected to the product. And that's how we can very easily from one console, from one web UI, see the whole environment. We can start and stop the instances, we can control the lifecycle, we can install fixes, we can directly also access the logs. So here I also said that alignment is a big topic in the Software AG. By having so many products and so many environments, you might want to have comparison between the patch levels, for example, or between the configurations of the different environments. So that's the thing that you can do here. You can also check the license compliance. And by this, I want to make sure that you know that nothing is being directly sent from the Command Central to Software AG. The license compliance is only for the customers. And the idea is that you can just see whether you're using your products in the right manner or you're exceeding some license that you have ordered. Okay, then here I'm going to jump for the first demo. Okay, I have a separate installation of Command Central which runs on my local VM, and the development teams gave me a couple of environments with Command Central, with products, just not with Command Central. So again, in the architecture build, I'm on the Command Central server, I'm connected to the other environments, and I can directly monitor them and manage the lifecycle of the products remotely. So I'll log in. And now in the O environment, you see that all the components that are currently in the environment. But if I go, for example, to the 9.8 environment, then you'll see that all the servers that are here inside, they are listed here, all the instances of them. And the thing is, I can control the lifecycle directly from here. It will take a while to start up. The 9.9 environment is similar. It's just with another version of products. Here with this environment, I would also like to show that you can really practically connect to the older environments. This is Command Central 9.10, the really last version that came out last week. And those environments, like this is from 2015, and this is from April 2016. Sorry, this is for October 2015. Again, we can go and, for example, change configurations here. In the integration server, you also see KPIs of every single process, like how much memory has it taken, how many threads do we use. If we check the integration server, then currently there are no statistics because nothing is running on the server, but you can see things like response time, running services, and service errors. If I jump to the configuration tab, then I can really remotely configure the whole integration server. And this is basically, I can configure every single thing that I can configure from the integration server administration console. So things like, for example, clustering, is it enabled? Can I change it? Database pools, web service endpoints, users. I can manage everything here. The other very interesting part is the walks manipulation. So, for example, if I jump here to the walks, then I can directly browse the walks on the server. Here I can check out a random walk. I can download the walk if I want, as a zip or as a plain text. Or there's the feature that I like the most. I can select a couple of walks and then download them. And then I can analyze them locally on my machine if I want. Okay, so I think this is the first demo. It covers here the environment. It covers the lifecycle management. How can I start and stop things? It covers the monitoring with the basic KPIs. Like if I click here on a Terracotta server, I see a lot of KPIs here. Like we have only basic monitoring, but for so many servers, it's more than enough, I think. And we covered also the configuration briefly and the walk viewer. Okay, then I'll jump back to the second use case. So the second use case is the scripted maintenance activities. Everything that I just showed you is also available through the command line tool. If you're on the Command Central server, you can access everything with the CC command, and you can start, stop, install fixes, make configuration changes. And really the benefit is that by this you can script your activities once and then just execute them on different components and different environments. So there is less risk because if you script something once and it works, then it's already proved, so you can just run it again. With the human task, even in the Command Central Web UI, if you have to perform the same human task over and over again, there's a possibility to make an error. Okay, so here we have a couple of examples of how to stop a product, for example, that's remotely. Again, we are on the server. We just type the command and it's there. We can list the status of different nodes. We can install things directly. This is, for example, an example of installing fixes from Empower. And we can update configurations, for example. Okay, let's jump to the next use case. And that's a big one. That's the automatic provisioning of new environments. So the idea is that with Command Central, you can create a thing called composite template. It's in a domain-specific language. in a file called YAML, and it's a human-readable file. I'll just show you one example of it. The idea is that there you can describe how your environment will look like. So you can, for example, describe that you want an integration server, you want a messaging server there, and you want a web portal server on the target machine. You can also specify, for example, that if you have 2 integration servers, they will be connected in a cluster and they will be using the same messaging service there. So what you basically do is you create this text file currently. It describes your environment, then you import into the Command Central. Again, it can not only describe the environment, it can do additional things like create your database schemas. It can also apply directly the fixes. It also install the instances, the configuration, I already mentioned them. Okay, so you curate this YAML file, which is the declarative representation of the target. Then you import it inside, and then with a single command line, you can apply it. And you can even reuse those, as on many places they have references to variables which are being replaced in runtime. You can also, by using composite template, keep your environment up to date. This means that even if you already have provisioned your environment with the composite template, you can go there, update the fixes, update the configurations, and then reapply the template again. It will skip all the things that are already there, and it will just apply the new things. So that's a very convenient way to update your whole environment. So let me just show you how a composite template looks like. So you can see that the composite template can get pretty complex and pretty big. And of course, you have to know that it's very powerful, but your team has to go through a certain learning curve to start using it. You have to be very familiar with the product and familiar with the composite template. We have a couple of very good guides and how-tos on how to create composite templates from scratch, and of course our teams are already educated and can assist you in it. So let's begin with this composite template. It's a composite template that will actually create on the target machine that we specify a BPMS installation, and this consists of an integration server, of a messaging service, that's universal messaging, then a portal server, which is the MyWebMethods server, and a couple of specific products which run on top of the integration server. So here we always start with the default section, which kind of describes the version. It describes the repository where the products will be taken from. It describes also the fixed repository, which is Empower, our portal for customers. Okay, we specify here things like the platform, the operation system. We specify installation directory, a couple of passwords. Everything can be described really here. So the important thing is actually here the layers. Here on the layers, we define how the products will be installed on the target environment. And here the first is like just default. We assume we take the repo that we have defined, where the products are, and the fixed repo, and we assign them here. The next one is to go actually on the remote machine and to bootstrap your Software AG platform manager. Remember that the agent of Software AG, of the Software AG Command Central, and that's the part that we connect to the Command Central, and from then on, the SPM locally will start provisioning and configuring the products that we want. So next we have a database layer, and this database layer describes what kind of database schemas have to be installed on the target database in order for the products to work properly. For example, the integration server requires database. It requires some schemas to be pre-installed there, to be pre-configured, and so on. So the next is the universal messaging layer, which is the messaging layer for this BPMS solution. It will also this is another set of products which is installed there. Then we have the Terracotta, that's the cache layer. Our server, it will also be installed directly and will be configured. And then we're jumping to the BPM, which is actually the integration server with all the additional products on top of it, like BPM capabilities, task engines, monitoring capabilities, and so on. Those all live in the integration server. Then we have My Web Methods. That's our portal server, which is the place where the users, the BPM users, interact with user interfaces. So that this is also set up here. And as you can see, we reference templates, and the templates are again here. And in the templates, we very specifically say things like what kind of server do we want to install, where are your license files, so that they can be copied there and the license can be directly set up. What kind of products will be installed, what kind of configuration will be installed. And you can see here on many places we reference variables. And the idea is that these variables can be passed with the command line that executes the composite template. That's one example, which is next to this composite template here. And you can see how many variables can we change and reference. And this will, for example, we can reuse the same composite template for different environments. We can reuse the same composite template to create a single instance or a whole cluster. It just depends on what we write here in the properties. And we already have a couple of out of the box composite templates. You can directly there apply things like your version, your install directory, and so on. And that's how you can directly provision a couple of things, your whole environment actually. Okay. Then the next use case is very connected to the composite template, and it's the fully automated upgrade. I already spoke about it briefly. The idea is that if you have a 9.8 environment and you want to reuse, and you want to use 9.10, which came out last week, then previously the migration projects were huge. You had to put a lot of effort in it, and it was always a site-to-site installation. So you had to install the old ones next to the new ones, and then looking at the old ones, you start configuring the new things, and that's how it got running. Now, Command Central addressed this really nicely by introducing this fully automated migration. The idea is that if you can describe or even create, if you even have created your old environment with a composite template, you can just run the same template with a slight modification, and it will migrate your whole 9.8 environment to 9.10. And this will happen with a single command line command, which is exactly here. So the change between applying a composite template that will provision your environment and the change of applying one composite template that will migrate your environment is actually this environment mode. So we just put it into migration. Previously it was provisioning by default. So as you can see here, you can even give it in the command line tool. So again, we are taking, for example, the same composite template that we created our old environment with. We just modify the repositories and I don't know, probably the software, the version, and then we run the same composite template, and it will directly migrate our whole environment. This means that every single product will be upgraded to a newer version. All the new fixes will be installed, and then your assets, which are developed on top of this digital business platform, they will also be migrated automatically there. So this is really a big leap in the upgrade business of Software AG. Okay, then the last use case that we're going to cover is the dynamic scaling, and that's the Elastic ESB case. The idea is that, for example, if you're running in the cloud, doing some retailer business, and you understand that currently, for example, because it's Christmas or shortly before Christmas, your servers can no longer take the load. Then you probably need to scale horizontally. And Command Central is a tool that can help you first detect performance degradations, and then with the capabilities that I already showed, it can start up new nodes in the cloud. It can provision the new nodes exactly with the software that you need. It can, with an orchestrated tool, we can update the load balancer, for example, and this load balancer we start, in short, using the new ESB instance, for example. So to detect the performance degradation, you can either use the Command Central KPIs that we've seen, for example, service response times, or how many services are running, or similar things. Or you can use the Optimized for Infrastructure, which is again another Software AG tool, which is more advanced and more complex, and there you can monitor a lot more environment KPIs, like threats in particular processes and many more. Or you can just use your third-party tool. Your third-party tool can then provide this data to our orchestrator. The orchestrator can be very simple. It can be a shell or unscript. It can be a WebMethod CSV with flow logic inside, or even a BPM process, or it can be a third-party tool like Chef and Puppet. So what these orchestrators can do is that basically the scenario that I described, they detect the performance degradation, is below the KPIs, then using the Command Central, they set up new environments, and they update the load balancer in front so that the new environments are used now. And that happens in the other direction. If your performance does not need to be that big anymore, for example, your users have shrinked, then you can remove an instance the same way. You remove the instance, you update the load balancer, and then you go. So my colleague Jonathan Haywood actually have created a very nice demo about it, and I'm going to reference it here. You can find the demo on YouTube. I'll just show you where. It's in the Software AG channel. And it's called Elastic ESB. I'm not doing the demo right now because it's too complex and it needed a lot of preparation, but check it out. It's very nicely prepared. It has the whole overview again, and you'll have a very nice idea what's happening there. You can also check many other things on the Software AG channel. We have a lot of demos and a lot of other useful stuff. Okay. So I want to also give a reference. And our reference is a large health insurance company in Germany, which is actually using the Command Central. They have created a huge BPMS application, which they give to other health insurance companies. And the idea is that if they have something like 100 BPM production instances, and they need to scale also, so they're doing their whole provisioning of the environment using composite templates. They're doing also the maintenance using composite templates, so upgrade of configuration, upgrade of fix levels, and so on. They're also doing, by having so many instances of our products, they're doing the basic health monitoring. And now with 9.10, they're also rolling out and trying the upgrade support path, because upgrading 140 machines, for example, is not the best way to do it manually. So that's why they have taken the way. They are one of our drivers and our big adopter, and they're pretty successful with it. Okay. Again, I will just repeat what Command Central brings on the table, and that's very related to the cloud. We now have a centralized tool with which you can monitor and configure your whole environment, and it does not matter if they're a private or public cloud. If you have internet connection to them and your SPN is set up correctly, you can monitor everything. It's unified. That's one of the few places where you can see the whole digital business platform as a one. You can configure anything in a unified way. It's a scalable solution for the administrators. You can automate many things. You don't have to go to every single machine to collect the logs. It's really scalable and automatable. Okay. And with this, I think we can conclude our presentation, and now it's time for the Q&A session. So let's see if we have gathered a couple of questions. Charlie, probably you can take on from here.
I certainly can, Angel. Thank you very much. And I would like to remind everybody, please use the Q&A box in the WebEx window, lower right-hand side of the screen, for any questions you might have regarding the presentation. Angel, if you would just move to the final slide, I'd like to make the point of showing the email addresses at the bottom middle of the screen. So you have Angel's and you have Sachin's. The point of this being that if we don't get to a question today, or if something occurs to you, please make note of those email addresses. They'd be happy to hear from you and answer any questions that may have occurred after the session has concluded. All that said, so Angel, at the beginning we talked about the digital business platform, which we've seen in action in actual demos in the Web Methods Wednesday series, bringing together a number of different Web Methods components to support an actual real-world customer use case. So then the question is how much of the digital business platform is supported? How many Web Methods products are actually supported in Command Central?
Very good question, Charlie. So currently we're supporting the core of the Web Methods suite, the core of the digital business platform, and that's mostly the BPMS solutions. So we support integration server and all the products that are around and in it. We support our portal server, the MyWebMethods server, which is used for human interaction if you're using BPM. And we support our messaging server, which is the universal messaging. So those three servers, they're the key components in our digital business platform, and we have almost full support for them. Of course, we have also many other tools. Some of them are useful only for development environment. Some of them are also used widely in productions. But for some of them, we have limited supportability, like legacy stuff, like EntireX and Adabas. Currently, they interact with us, but they're not fully supported. Yeah, so the other things, sorry, the other thing that I forgot is that the Kota cache layer, it's always supported. It's a very vital part of having a big environment which can have a couple of clusters. So Terracotta is also a vital part and it's supported fully.
So apropos of development, how does Command Central support DevOps?
Yeah, DevOps is a very hot topic at Software AG these days. Yeah, we support it basically now through applying these configurations either through scripts or through the composite template that we're using. We're also working very hard to support deployment of the assets. As you saw, that's our future directions. So we already have a lot of things that can help developers, which are pretty good in the administration. But to have the full end-to-end scenario, we need to do a bit more work. And I'm pretty sure with the next two versions will be there. And this will help also our cloud strategy.
Do we, and this is the customer asking, need the license for Command Central?
No, currently Command Central is free. If you have bought other products from the Software AG, you get Command Central for free. The beauty of it is that even if you have an older license, if I can reference back to the architecture, you can just take a Bootstrap installer. So Command Central can be installed from the installer, but it also has a single line Bootstrap installer. You can install it on one of your machines and you can directly connect to older SPMs, and that's how you can leverage directly the capabilities of the Command Central. So again, it's free, try it. If you're already a user, if you have an Empower account, go there, just download it and set it up. It's something like 5 minutes.
So is it, are you saying for any Web Methods product?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's not tied to BPM, for example?
It's not tied to BPM. If you have Empower account, if you have bought something from Software AG, then you can download and use it. You can try it.
Which products can be migrated? Let's see if I get this question correct. Which products can be migrated from what version to 9.10 using Command Central?
Okay.
That's the question. How far back
yeah,
can you?
the products that we have focused on with the migration are the integration server, of course, all the products on top of the integration server, like BPM, the adapters, packages, there are custom packages. We can also migrate the universal messaging and the MyWeb methods. So we can basically migrate the whole BPMS suite. And the versions, we have currently tested 9.8 to 9.10 and 9.9 to 9.10, and this works perfectly. But theoretically, it can be, we can also migrate older versions. But for now, I can only guarantee for the path, the migration path from 9.8 to 9.10 and from 9.9 to 9.10.
So this question is regarding MWS or MyWebMethods server and integration server. So those interfaces, can you make those a big part of the configuration and monitoring from Command Central?
So basically everything that can be configured in the integration server or web console can now be configured through the Command Central. You can do it directly from there. And I think some like 90% of the things that you can configure in the integration server, in the MyWebMethods server, can also be configured directly from Command Central. Additionally, we have links from Command Central where you can, with a single sign-on, directly open your server. I hope this answers the question. If not, then we have to repeat it or paraphrase it.
Okay, and those same products, MWS, IS, are they going to be less important with the evolution of Command Central?
Now, Command Central is a tool that will enable the cloud. It will enable your administrators to spend less time with the products and to focus on their real work. So Command Central is something that will really reduce the total cost of ownership. It will not replace the other products. Command Central, for example, is never going to do integration or business process management. That's the work of the integration server together with the MyWebMethods server. So those products are staying. It's just that we're making their administration, their installation and configuration a lot easier than before.
Can you configure Apama and Presto?
Still not, but it's on the way.
Okay, so that's on the roadmap, you're saying?
Yeah.
All righty. And how do you support adapters? None specifically mentioned here, but in general from Command Central.
Well, the adapters are products from the installer. You can install them. The thing is that, for example, if you take the SAP adapter, then we can also replace or put the jars that we need inside of the integration server so that the SAP adapter can start. We can apply their configurations to the adapters, like if the JDBC adapter, we can apply configuration to which database it's going to be connected. We can create the connection, which is going to be specific for the node that we're configuring. So we can reuse this, for example, in continuous integration, where we deploy on some target server, everything gets pulled out, and we want to try a couple of things, and the adapters are very vital point there. So that's how, in general, we work with them. We just configure them. That's our approach.
Alrighty. And I think going back to use case number 2, if someone makes an error while editing the template configuration, how does Command Central react to that?
Well, currently it fails. Like as I told you, there's a steep learning curve with the Command Central composite templates. So currently it's very powerful. Like the feature can do many things, but you have to invest some time in it. And yeah, it will fail. We have a couple of jobs. Like what happens there if you trigger a composite template is that you have a hierarchy of jobs that are being triggered asynchronously on the Command Central. And you basically monitor every single step in your composite template is related to a job there. For example, something like set up the remote software AG Platform Manager, this is one step there. Another job will be, for example, starting up instances. Another will be fixing the instances with the latest fixes. So that's how we get the feedback. But this mechanism, I think, it may not be sufficient, and we're working it right now.
Okay, and from the same questioner, in this case then, do the logs indicate the specific PB that causes the failure?
Yeah, currently it does.
Okay, and let's end with one more question, which could just
especially
be
about the works. Yeah, I would like to make a small remark about the works. Currently, we have a lot of works, and we're aiming to reduce it. So in 9.12, we'll have only one user work, and it will be very easily to go there and find the troubles, especially with the composite templates. They're that complex. Sorry, Charlie, you go on.
No problem. So here's the last question. Maybe it's a yes or no. Does Command Central support monitoring of Docker images?
Now, if we package there the SPM in the Docker image, then we are able to connect to every single Docker image and perform a lot of things on it, setting it up, patching it, and putting instances up there. So I think it's one of our directions. It's under our roadmap to be able to create Docker images and then to be able to fix and monitor Docker images. So that's certainly something that will be there for the near future, and that's one of our directions.
I'd like to thank again Angel Tolchev for joining us, and also Sachin Gadre earlier. If you missed any part of this, or you want to come back again, we're doing it again at 2 p.m. Eastern this afternoon live, as we always do these presentations. In the meantime, we look forward to seeing you at other WebMethods Wednesday sessions. We're doing Integration Cloud next week about enabling Salesforce Wave Analytics, and we'll also be looking at decision support tools in the ensuing weeks. So please come back again. In the meantime, have a great day.